My name is Amie and my speech is on coulrophobia. Coulrophobia is known as the fear of clowns. Yes, it's a strange and odd topic, but it's also a very real topic. So I start by asking, how entertaining and comfortable would it be to have a 6'4" person with a white pasty face, big red nose, oversized feet, and huge hands making awkward facial expressions and exaggerated body movements in front of you while twisting balloons and honking horns? Not so pleasant, of course not. So then why in the world would any adult think that this would be considered fun for a child that is just 2 or 3 years old? Or actually, how enjoyable would it be for any child? I bet that everybody in this room knows at least one person that is afraid of clowns. Is there anybody here that's afraid of clowns?
Yes.
Okay, you can add me to the list. The fear of clowns is real. It can range from feeling uncomfortable around them to hysteria. There is even a clinical word for this fear, and that is called coulrophobia. Although there are no official statistics, some experts believe that as many as 1 in 7 people experience some level of coulrophobia. I think that's probably doubled. Symptoms can include shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, sweating, nausea, and overall feelings of dread. So what exactly is it that instills this phobia into an individual? I interviewed 15 people with some level of clown anxiety. All of them stated that they had some type of a bad experience with a clown as a child. One person stated that she was at a birthday party at the age of 6 when a clown appeared to do magic tricks. She remembered his eyes being very scary. She was also afraid of the fact that he did not speak. Another person was given a clown doll as a child. She said she was terrified of it because it just looked creepy. Another thing that I found interesting was that every person mentioned the clown from the Stephen King novel movie It. But honestly, has a clown ever really had a favorable reputation? Back in ancient times, the fool or the court jester was the first type of clown ever known. The jester was foolish, but a deviant type. That was expected to mock and be quite the trickster. The jesters back then had upside down V's for eyebrows, they had white faces, and they had very strange looking outfits. So they were a little devious and demonic looking to begin with. During the Great Depression, as the clowns evolved, vagabonds would join the circus and walk around in tattered clothing and face paint. They were considered by society to be drunks and thieves and unsavory people, but they did make people laugh. Clowns started to gain more respect in the 1950s and 60s with the major circus chains such as Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus. But then, in the 1970s, John Wayne Gacy, serial killer, was convicted of over 33 counts of murder of men and children. His occupation was a clown. It seems to me that this is where the media carnage and the fear of the clown might have truly begun. Most psychologists attribute coulrophobia to the media as well as early childhood incidents. This might be due to the amount of many horror movies that came out in the early 80s portraying clowns as evil and deadly. Soon Halloween carnivals and festivities followed suit, and the evil and terrifying looking clowns as part of the scare tactics were used at these kind of fright festivals. Several things come together to form the perfect storm for coulrophobia. In my opinion, after doing research, it's psychological, visual, and urban legend. Psychological would be any kind of event that might have happened as a child that scared them when they saw a clown. When you look at a clown, they're covered, whether it's a mask or it's makeup. You can't tell what they look like or who they are. That's frightening to anybody. The unknown is scary. Also visual. A lot of children's hospitals and doctors' offices have clowns everywhere. Not so much anymore, but they did back in the 60s and the 70s. So when a child would go to a children's hospital or a doctor's office and they didn't have a good experience, they might have remembered that clown in the back of their mind. Then we have urban legend, like the Twilight Zone. I loved to watch the Twilight Zone as a child, especially on Thanksgiving during their 24-hour marathons. But I didn't like the ones that had clowns or dolls that moved. A lot of kids say, that they don't like clowns because of those kinds of movies and shows. One important article I'd like to point out was in the Washingtonian in 2012. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus relocated to Tampa Bay, Florida. That was their headquarters. There were several circus chains that had relocated to that area, and the city wanted to celebrate by having a downtown center with statues erected in a circle around a fountain, life-size clowns. The society was not accepting of this, and a petition was formed. People started to sign the petition and fight, not wanting to have the clowns there. That's when people realized that there really was a problem with the fear of clowns. They did win, the public won, there were no clowns erected, and subsequently Barnum and Bailey relocated to another part of Florida. In closing, I would like to recap the following points. Coulrophobia is a real phobia. It's very similar to mask-ophobia, which I thought was very interesting. That's the phobia of anybody wearing any kind of mask, which comes together with the fear of not knowing or not being able to see someone for who they really are. There are no treatments for this. The smartest thing to do is just to stay away from anything that reminds you of a clown. Try to stay calm. Stay away from the theaters that have these kind of horror movies. And some other suggestions that I found online were to take deep breaths, to try yoga, meditate. I just say stay away from clowns. Thank you.